Hi, 7th grade. Welcome to your November book talk, the second of the year. I wanted to start today by going over a couple reminders and things about how to get a book from the library. Just a reminder that if you are either here at school or at home, you can always be placing books on hold using that Destiny Discover Library Catalog button on our homepage. Remember that you're logging in using your student ID and your Colab password, and then waiting for that Schoology message to let you know when the books are ready. You can also, just as of recently, stop down during either class or advisory time. You can come in before and after school or during passing time for a quick browse and check out. We're having students sanitize their hands when they get down here, and then you're welcome to look on the shelves and find a couple good books to check out and bring with you. It's been really nice to see some of you in person again, and it's been exciting to be able to open up the library in that way as of the last week or so. Another reminder that Mac and Via is on our homepage, and you can use that to access the ebooks and audiobooks that we have in the district, or you can, of course, use the app that's on your iPad. Speaking of Destiny Discover and that catalog, I wanted to just mention again that with that, it's more visual this year than in previous years, and we've done that very intentionally, trying to make it easier for you to shop for books, especially because we know it's been a little bit more difficult to get down here to the library and look for books on the shelf. I'm going to click on this, which brings us into the catalog itself, and point out that there are a couple of things that we're trying to change up on a fairly regular basis. The first is this top banner that right now is elections and voting. Every week to 2 weeks, we're switching that out with a new topic. So there are going to be new books up on that top banner. Right before this, we had some books for, I'm trying to remember now. Isn't that terrible? At any rate, we've had some different topics going on and some different books up on that banner. So just depending on what's going on, whether it's been an event or something going on in the library, whether it's been something that students are requesting, we've been trying to change this up just so that hopefully it's giving you new books to look at, maybe even some books that students aren't aware are located down here. Also, I may have mentioned this before, but the collections that are partway down the page, we're going to be adding to this all year long as well. It's just another way to do some shopping for books. For example, this one called Pandemics and Plagues, these 31 books that are located in this collection. These are all books where, as it says here, we can meet characters who have been through this before. So if you're looking for books where there are some characters who have done some quarantining, or characters who have been dealing with a widespread illness or disease, you can read some of these sci-fi books or graphic novels that maybe would, feel a little close to home right now. So as you go down the list here, take a look. Once again, you could click on any of these and make sure that you get logged in up here in the top right corner to place any of them on hold. So just wanted to highlight that those are two other ways that we're trying to change things up on the catalog on a fairly regular basis to make it easier for you to shop for books. And speaking of great books to read, I am going to share a few with you this morning. The first one, Tangerine by Edward Bluer, comes from our sports section. I really love this story because not only is it based in soccer, of course, as you can see from the cover, but this story also contains family, it contains friendship stuff, it's also a mystery in many ways, so it has a lot to offer beyond just the sports action. This is the story of Paul. Paul sees the world behind these Coke bottle glasses. He has glasses that are so very thick because he is basically legally blind without them. When Paul doesn't have his glasses on, he can hardly see his own hand in front of his face. However, Paul can see that his new town of Tangerine, Florida, is very unusual. Or I should say it's in Tangerine County, Florida. It deals with everything from sinkholes in the ground, if you've ever seen those, that can swallow up things. And in fact, it ends up swallowing up the new school where he's attending. And you can see the picture there I've put on the screen. There are fires in their town that are literally burning underground for years. There's lightning striking at the same time every day. I mean, what? This is so bizarre. And Paul realizes this is pretty weird. There are other weird things going on, including some secrets in his family that are coming to light. And with the help of his new friends on his soccer team, he is learning that he can uncover the answers to those secrets if he just keeps looking for them. If he keeps asking questions, if he keeps digging, he is going to figure out the answers. Paul has an older brother who is kind of a bully to him, not even kind of. He's pretty cruel, and that plays a big part in this story. Paul makes some new friends on the soccer team who are another big part to this story, and it's just a great read. Like I said, friendship, family, a mystery as he's trying to uncover some of these family secrets in particular. I think you'll enjoy this one. I know I did. The Rule of Three by Eric Walters in science fiction. This is the story of a disaster that starts out not seeming like one. Our main character, Adam, is sitting in his high school classroom when all of a sudden the computers all shut down and the power shuts down and everybody's cell phones stop working. And at first people think it's some kind of weird electrical outage that probably got caused by construction or an accident or something, and people figure within a couple hours it'll be up and running again. The longer, though, that things are out, people realize that this is no ordinary power outage. It is some kind of viral catastrophe. Something has happened that's not just affecting their school or their town or even their state. It is a large-scale disaster. Adam manages to drive home because he happens to have a car that it's an old clunker, and it's a computer-free car. So it's one of the only cars that's actually functioning. He's driving through the roads, through the streets, and there's cars, all along the way that are parked in the middle of the road, right? They just died right where they were. As people realize that they are without this technology, the longer that goes on, people begin to panic, but also people in his neighborhood are starting to kind of band together for protection, and they're working together. Adam's mom is the police captain, so she's very involved in helping people and keeping people calm. He's also living next door to a retired government spy who has some resources that others don't. This is the first book in a series, and it's a survival series, and it's wonderful. So if that is something that interests you, I would highly recommend this book. I couldn't put it down. So give that one a shot by Eric Walters. Mockingbird by Catherine Erskine. This story begins having a tragic event already happen before the start of the book. Caitlin is our main character, and we learn that Caitlin has dealt with a tragedy from her older brother's death before the opening pages. Caitlin's brother died in a school shooting, and Caitlin's best friend was her brother. And he was in school. A few students and a teacher were shot and killed at this high school shooting, or maybe it was a junior high, but her older brother was her best friend, and he was kind of a protector for her. He was someone who explained a lot of life to her, and he's gone, and she's grieving the fact that he has died, and especially in such a violent way. Their small community is also grieving because it's a close community of people, a close town, and everybody is sort of reeling from this awful event that's occurred. So she's missing her brother, Devin. She lives with just her dad. Her mom has passed away a long time ago, and it's just her and Dad. And Dad is not someone who talks much about his feelings. She can hear him crying in various places in the house, various rooms, but they don't really talk about it together. And so Caitlin is dealing with her own emotions in her own way, talking to a counselor at school. But Caitlin has Asperger's syndrome. And as a part of that, she does not really know how to deal with her feelings in the way that many might. For her life has been very black and white, very right and wrong. And Devin had always been that person who sort of talked her through some of that real life stuff, and now he's not here to do that with her, and she's having to cope with it alone. So this story is about how community is coping with the violence of the school shooting, Caitlin and her dad dealing with the grief, and also how they begin to find hope and comfort in one another as they move forward. What My Mother Doesn't Know by Sonia Sonez, all of this author's books, or at least the ones that I know, I shouldn't say all of them, but the ones that I've read have all been written in that free verse poetry style. If you like books in that style of writing, she writes it in such a neat way, a way that's just so accessible and easy to read. And this story is about Sophie, who falls in love not just once, not even just twice, but 3 times in this book. Sophie is going through the roller coaster of what it is to have your first love and have your heart broken and go through a second and third love as well. And it's going through those emotions and through those relationships, but also feeling a little bit disconnected from your parents at the same time. Feeling like you don't know what you want to share with your parents or with your family, and not knowing what you want to say, what you want to tell them, having a tough time kind of figuring out where those lines are at. That's this story, What My Mother Doesn't Know by Sonia Sonez. Anyone who picks up one of her books wants to read them all. The last one that I'm sharing from our library is Slide by Jill Hathaway. This story is about V, who is absolutely certain her sister's friend Sophie didn't kill herself. She knows that she was murdered. The reason that V knows this is because she was there. People think that V has narcolepsy, which is where, without your own choosing, you just fall asleep. And V doesn't have narcolepsy. She doesn't actually fall asleep when she has one of these little episodes. When she passes out, what actually happens is she slides into somebody else's mind for a while and experiences the world through that person's eyes. And this has happened a whole bunch, right? It's happened when she's slid into her sister before when she's been cheating on a math test, or she's slid into some stranger, right, on the street, drinking coffee or whatever. Nothing, though, could have prepared V for what happened one night when she slid into the mind of somebody holding a bloody knife standing over Sophie's slashed body. V wants to find a way to figure out who this killer is before they strike again. She just doesn't know how she's going to do it. This is the first book in a 2-book series, and it's fantastic. I want to end my book talk today by sharing that the book fair is coming. It's just not in person like we would love to do. This fall, it's going to be online. It's being offered on the dates that are on your screen. All the purchases support our school, so thank you in advance for any purchases that you and your family make, because those proceeds, 25% comes right back to our building, which is fabulous because it means we can add more great books that can be loaned out to students these years and moving forward. I will be sending more information to your English teachers soon, but to get you thinking about the book fair right now, I want to share 2 quick trailers for 2 of the books coming to this year's book fair. The first is part of the I Survived.
2 new I Survived books based on terrifying true events in history. Josh is on a family trip to Northern California when he finds himself in the middle of the deadliest wildfire season in 100 years. He and his cousin Holly are suddenly trapped in a fast-moving firestorm that's destroying everything in its path. Smoke burns their lungs, and embers burn their skin. They must find a way to escape the blazing forest in I Survived the California Wildfires 2018. And another favorite I Survived book is now a thrilling graphic novel. A killer shark has been terrorizing swimmers along the New Jersey shore. Chet feels safe in his small town, far from the ocean, until one day, when he comes face to face with a shark in the local creek. Will Chet and his friends survive the swim? Find out in the graphic novel adaptation of I Survived the Shark Attacks of 1916. Look for them at your Scholastic Book Fair.
The I Survived books are always popular. The other one I wanted to show you is this one.
5, 6, 7.
Hide and seek. I'm not sure why we started playing, but it seemed like a good idea at the time. We were all so happy to be together again. Our friend Z had finally come home. He'd been missing for a year. No one knew where he'd been. But now, it was like old times. Except there was something looking for us. Something from another world. The Seeker. He was the one who took Z. And now, he wanted us too.
Find hide and seeker at your Scholastic Book Fair. If you can.
So those are a couple books to consider. I can't wait to get those in the library. Thanks so much for your attention to the book talk, and I will look forward to answering any questions you have about the book fair, about checkouts, anything related to the library, of course. And yeah, from here on out, let us know if you have anything that you need. We are available to you. Like always, in the meantime, happy reading.